What I tell my clients is when it comes to funding, it really depends on where you are in your journey that will define the funding options that are going to be available to you. So in the very genesis of this, what we have is we have early stage funding. Now, generally in the early stage, we're talking about, doing a proof of concept on the idea. We're not developing a minimally marketable product or anything at this point. We're just simply going to go out there and validate that actually customers and a market exist and they're willing to pay for a particular solution that you're going to be able to provide. Now, in this particular stage, essentially, it's not very capital intensive because a lot of it is done by the founder himself on a home computer or something like that. And so at that point, I always tell people that bootstrapping is your principal way to actually fund that early stage. Now, we might get into what we'll call pre-revenue, which is the next stage. Now, pre-revenue means that I have already in some way proved my hypothesis that my solution will in fact be in demand once I go ahead and do this. This is perhaps where we're actually going to be doing much of the product design and the actual development of the product. And at this particular stage, bringing on partners is a good option to help fund that business. In other words, they have an equity stake in a business that they're part of. And this is also a good stage where maybe crowdfunding is a good avenue for funding, because what it does, in addition to being able to help you raise capital for a product that is yet to be developed, but it also provides a feedback mechanism to the founders indicating that there is demand for the product or service that the business is attempting to do. And then we get into the last stage, which is a business that already has revenue. In this particular situation, it might be a minimally marketable product or something, but we have in fact now unequivocally proved that customers are willing to exchange hard-earned money for the solution that you're developing, and that the business has actually got income coming in from that, at which case now this is where a business might go to getting debt financing in the hopes of not doing any further dilution of any of the owners at this particular point, but recognize that in this case, effectively, the lenders are looking at the cash flow of the business to be able to pay back that particular debt. So using debt financing in early stage or pre-revenue is generally not an option, because the business doesn't have the revenue to support the payments of the debt financing. But in a revenue market, we also have the opportunity now to go out to investors. Typically, angel investors are something that can now help and scale that particular business. Remember, it is well beyond the proof of concept that this particular thing, and it is in fact generating revenue, and we just need to scale that up. And in some cases, if you don't really want to do any more dilution and you can't get debt financing, there's always the opportunity to do something like factoring, which essentially is selling your receivables to some type of an organization that will give you a fraction, maybe 90% of the invoice amount, for example, to you today, and then depending on how long it takes to collect that, maybe give you back some of that 10% that's a holdback. So when you're talking about funding, depending on where you are in your journey, whether you're early, pre-revenue, or actually generating revenue, dramatically defines what kinds of options you have available to you.